That is a very loud quad.
It's not a quad, it's a bike.
Could be a bike. What's up guys, welcome back to another video. And once again we are in the forest and I have a very sore neck. I think I strained it, so this video is going to be very much like this.
Turn your head one way and one way only, please.
Yeah, straight on. Okay, so something that is quite a big deal in the photography world and may have more of an impact depending on what type of photography you do is the whole JPEG versus RAW situation.
Give this video a big thumbs up if you're happy to see my face again. So we should probably start with the difference between RAW and JPEG, because that's probably a question that you guys are asking. Probably the reason you maybe clicked on this video. What exactly is the difference? Well, I'm going to tell you. So to put it in the simplest of terms, basically JPEG is a file that has already been compressed. So it is a smaller file size. You will notice if you shoot a JPEG photo and then a RAW photo, the file sizes are very, very different. JPEG is a much smaller file, whereas a RAW photo has not been compressed. It still retains all the data within that photo and therefore it is a much bigger file size.
So to elaborate on that a little bit more, in a JPEG image, all the details, for example, the shadows, the highlights, the white balance and stuff is all baked in, as they say, into that photo to create the final image. Whereas in a RAW file, all those details are not baked into the image, which means when you take it into Lightroom, there's a lot more room for manipulation. You can bring those highlights way down, and you can bring those shadows way up, and you can also adjust the white balance a lot more compared to a JPEG image.
There's just something so very mysterious about forests. They're just very, 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 I don't know, almost like magical.
They're just, yeah, there's just a cool feeling. I love forests.
So cool. Listen to the birds. And you can always get like those real moody
well, yeah,
shots,
especially it's pretty good lighting, but we haven't got much time for shots. But we have got some cool ones the past few days.
Yeah.
And we will get many more.
Hashtag moody vibes. So that is why a lot of photographers choose to shoot in RAW, because of the more freedoms that you have with the image in post. For example, when you are out shooting, you have a little bit more freedom if you overexpose or underexpose. You can correct that in post, in editing, if you have a RAW image. For example, if you overexpose, you can pull those highlights back more to correct the image. If you underexpose, you can bring up those shadows. And with a RAW image, there's just more freedom to do that. Whereas if you do that with a JPEG image, no, just doesn't. It doesn't go quite so well.
I almost fell on that little set, by the way. Yeah. Apologies for the wobbly footage and that.
I didn't even notice.
It was all going so well.
Sorry, I was too busy talking to the camera. I wasn't paying attention to you. But here is a good example. This is a picture that I took of Chris in the Philippines. It was at the Chocolate Hills in Bohol, in the Philippines, and it's safe to say I slightly overexposed this image.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. It was a busy day, lots of people. You're trying to get your shot quickly because there's like tourists, like, you know, walking around in and out of the frame. So I was quickly trying to get this picture of Chris, slightly overexposed it a little bit, but because I shot in RAW, we were able to easily correct that by bringing the highlights down much more than you could with the JPEG image.
And this picture that Christine is talking about actually turned out to be probably one of my favourite pictures during travelling that was took of me. And
especially because of your edit, when you put your preset on it,
it just worked.
It kind of worked well. But it's safe to say if I had took that picture in JPEG, we wouldn't have been able to
No,
we wouldn't have been able to save that picture.
No,
that's the word.
And this is just the exact reason why we're trying to tell you that shooting RAW can be so valuable at certain times. So we shoot pretty much, in fact, all the time we shoot in RAW, but you don't have to shoot in RAW. It completely depends what type of pictures that you take and whether or not you want to be able to manipulate them a lot in post-processing in Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever it is that you use.
Depends how much editing you do.
Yeah, it entirely depends. We like to be able to manipulate our images. We've made our own presets and stuff to keep things looking similar so it all works together on our Instagram feed, for example. But if you're just someone who likes to just go out, snap your pictures, keep them looking pretty natural, and not do a lot of editing to them, then you might want to still shoot in JPEG. It completely depends. The companies that make the cameras put a lot of effort into making their JPEGs look good, and it might work for you. It also is a lot easier to store the files because they're a lot smaller. So if you have a small memory card or you just want to be able to take more pictures, then JPEG might be a better option. Depends what you do and what you like.
Oh, holy tree! Christmas is here!
So many birds. There's just such a cool vibe in forests.
And this forest is like really quiet.
It's not even that big either, but there's just so many birds. But anyway, one other point that I did want to mention was we follow a guy called James Popsis on YouTube. He's a very experienced photographer. He's been doing it for years. Definitely check out his channel if you haven't already. And he does a lot of videos talking about stuff like this, just tips, tutorials, all that type of stuff. And he actually mentioned in one of his videos where he was talking about JPEGs versus RAW that he likes to keep one beside the other when he's editing. So he likes to use the JPEG version as a reference because the colors tend to be pretty natural looking. They look like what it looked like when you actually were there taking the pictures, whereas a RAW can look completely different, especially if you have settings changed around and stuff. For doing this, he actually chooses a RAW and JPEG setting on his camera, so when he takes a photo, it takes one in JPEG and one in RAW. And the point of this is JPEGs will keep the natural colors of a picture, so if that's something you like more, then you might want to shoot in JPEG. But also it can be good to have that picture just for a reference so you don't get carried away with your edit and make skin tones and everything look unnatural.
Which can sometimes happen.
Yeah, like he says in his video, if you're sitting editing a picture for like 2 hours, you don't even know what's right anymore, so you need to walk away, come back, and sometimes you'll think, what the hell was I doing?
Yeah, it's good to have that reference to look back at so you can see exactly what it looked like at the time.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't turn out when you're editing it like you want, and you need to look back and go, okay, I need to adjust this or I need to adjust that, or the white balance is way off. But yeah, that's the point of that. JPEGs are good for a lot of different things.
Chris, you up for a portrait?
Maybe.
Maybe. You're the portrait king. Go away up there. In and
Don't
amongst
know if
those
that's
trees.
the ideal area to be walking through.
I'm gonna try and take a picture of Chris here. But I'm gonna go down to the ground.
Christina is currently recording, trying to take a picture of me. Getting that low angle. Whoa, that's blown out. I'll leave that to the good camera. There's mountains over there. Right there.
So if I could maybe get Chris. So if you come walking towards me, Chris.
Can do.
I'm gonna go this way.
Right around here.
Say cheese!
And I believe that pretty much covers it.
So there you have it. Now you know the difference between JPEG and RAW.
And now you can decide whether you want to shoot in one or the other, or both. If you have a huge memory card and you want to take 2 pictures every single time you take a picture, which I probably wouldn't advise.
But the conclusion really is it just depends. It depends what type of photographer you are, what you like to shoot, and how you like to edit. There's no right or wrong. It's not like you have to shoot in RAW in order to have good pictures, because that's not necessarily true either. It just depends what you shoot and how you do it.
Yeah, RAW definitely does up your work. The amount of work you have to do, it definitely ups it a little bit. But if that's what you enjoy doing, like us, then probably a good choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is pretty cool. And we got some cool photos here too. And I don't think it's gonna rain, but it's looking a bit moody on it. What do you think? Is it gonna rain?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. We are, like we said in the last video, going to try and get out a bit more and do more videos like this, and also do little photo walks and stuff. It's a strange time, as you all know, and we're just trying to do what we can.
When travel becomes a thing again, or when we're at least able to travel away from our home, maybe we'll see a lot more of Ireland and bring you more like Ireland photo videos. That would be cool.
So stay tuned for those.
So if you enjoyed this video, guys, do give it a big thumbs up. Hopefully you learnt something very valuable. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more photo videos just like this. No, this was a tutorial. No, this was
photography
a tips video.
But before this runs out of battery and my arm starts to lower because this camera's so heavy,
yes,
that is it for this one. So as we always say, guys, take it easy.
Don't be a stranger.
And we forgot to put the mic on for that last bit, so hopefully there isn't wind noise and it just generally sounds terrible.
It was all going so well.
There's always something.